Today, we're going to be attempting to build a Japandi style building in small spaces in Tokyo, of course. Welcome back to my channel, everybody. If you are watching this in real time, I hope you had a great new year. I hope you're all feeling well rested, that you are excited for the year to come. I know I am personally. If you are new here, my name is Kawai, and I'm so excited to have you here with me. But before we start building, we need to define what Japandi style is. So the Japandi style is a hybrid interior design trend that merges the clean, minimalist aesthetic of Japanese design with the warm, functional simplicity of Scandinavian style. This approach emphasizes natural materials, neutral color palettes, and uncluttered spaces to create a calm, balanced, and highly functional environment. Japandi design blends the Japanese concept of wabi-sabi, which appreciates the beauty in natural imperfections, and simplicity with the Scandinavian principle of hygge. Hygge? Let me look it up.
Hyuga.
Hygge, which embraces comfort, coziness, and well-being. I feel like this is going to be pretty doable because everything in small spaces, I believe, is pretty Scandinavian inspired. So I think it's going to be pretty easy for us to do something that is both Scandinavian inspired and Japanese inspired so that we can make Japandi. Let's go. All right, so we are back in small spaces. It's been a minute. I almost opened up The Sims first, but we're back in small spaces and we are decorating Shibuya Studio today. And it is a 35 square meter, 376 square foot studio for Hana. Hana moved to Tokyo from Osaka to pursue her studies in fashion design at Bunka Fashion College. With a Japanese father and a Filipino mother, she grew up between two cultures and languages. Her tiny studio apartment sits above a vintage clothing shop in a quieter side street of Shibuya, where she can still hear the buzz of the city but find moments of calm. Despite its modest size, the space feels open with its large window that floods the room with light. When she's not working on her designs, she spends hours people watching at nearby cafes, documenting street fashion on her phone. She wishes to turn her flat into a small atelier with a dedicated corner for sketching out new designs. Okay, so this is Shibuya Studio. Very, very cute. I have some inspiration pictures down here that I'm looking at on my phone. I'm gonna pop them up on the screen so that you guys know what I'm referencing. I am gonna first start on some wood. Let's get some really light wood. I'm seeing lots of light wood colors. Oh, I like this light wood. Oh, I feel like that's so perfect. I'm gonna keep the walls kind of white if I can. Mostly because I don't remember what wall colors I have, but I also think that this works perfectly fine. I might change the tiles up though. So let's see what colors we have for our tiles. I can't remember entirely. Maybe more of that color. Okay, yes. You're going to be seeing a lot of beige. Okay, this is going to be super beige inspired. I think what I'm going to do first is her bedroom. So we're going to start in the bedroom, and I don't want to give her something small. I want to give her a big bed. I can't remember if I've used that bed before. Not that it really matters. We can use beds over and over again, obviously. But I feel like this might be a little too big. This feels like a good size. Like if I could just plop that back here. Yeah, I like this. I love the idea of giving her some privacy. You guys know I'm big about separating my rooms, my little dividers and stuff, but I want to try to avoid that. I think that what I want to do this time around is really give her, well, of course, everything that she's asking for, okay? It's all about the client, but I want to make sure that she has, yes, her bedroom, but more than anything, that she has her design atelier. Ooh, this is new. Does this count as a dresser? It does. Okay, that's perfect. I'm gonna do this for sure. Gonna put that next to her bed instead. I feel like that's perfect. It's a little simple, so I might want a lamp somewhere. Okay, so that is Hana's bedroom. I like it so far. I will say I think this is actually a little too colorful for Japandi. I believe the colors, ooh, we have Christmas trees? ADHD, sorry. I believe the colors are supposed to be more natural. Like everything is supposed to be quite muted, but if you do have color, you are allowed, or not allowed. Rather, you can incorporate green. Green is a good element to incorporate. Now, whether or not we put that is another story. Wow, we really got more stuff. We got more clutter. This is what I love about this game. Because it's in early access, they're always improving it. I think they even have a Discord channel. So you can just, ask for certain things, certain features that you want to see, and really be a part of the game's development, which is awesome. Okay, so the thing that I have noticed about Japandi styles is that there's not a lot of artwork on the walls. What there is instead are plants, however, and I think that's pretty Japandi. I might add some decor at the bottom, maybe some clothes. That's all I'm gonna add though, just a couple of clothes right there. Very, very minimalist. I might also add a rug. Although, do I see a lot of rugs in here? I do see a lot of rugs, or not a lot of rugs rather. I see rugs, but they're very natural in texture and very natural in color. I might change the shade of this. Okay, so this is our Japandi bedroom so far, and I feel like we're pretty on theme. We are gonna move on to what she really, really wants, which is our sewing atelier. So I believe that's in hobbies. And would we get a desk for this? I suppose we would, right? Yes. Where else is she gonna work? Okay, so let's get a desk. I could do something very tiny. Because her space is small, we could do that. But I also want to play around with the idea of seeing if we have any larger tables. That's not really the Japandi style that I think I'm looking for. Is this Japandi? I think that could work. That could work. It is super, again, we are super monochromatic right here, but that is the style, right? The style is about a lot of these lighter woods, so we're gonna keep with it. All right, so that desk works. I also always like to put, I don't know, this is just my personal thing. I like to put any kind of creative space towards the window because I'm just like, if you can see natural things happening, natural light, natural colors, your environment, granted that you're not facing, a building or a wall, I feel like it can be quite inspiring. But anyway, we're gonna make her a really cute little sewing atelier. Let me zoom in. Let me get a zoomy zoom. I believe sewing machines are meant to be faced this way, so I'm gonna just do that. If that's wrong and you are a sewer and you're like, girl, it's supposed to be the other way around, let me know down in the comments below, please. Thank you. Oh, I wish I could change the swatch of that fabric. It's just a little too colorful. Okay, so all I did was I added a little pin cushion. I think that is a tape measure, scissors, and some fabric. Granted, it's a little more colorful than I wanted it to be, but we can't change the swatches. If that is the only color that we have in this kind of space, I'll live with it. But otherwise, we're just gonna pop a little chair right here for her. And I think that's it. Oh, maybe another light. That might be nice. I might need to get her a wall lamp. Okay, I'm not against the wall lamp. I'm just gonna put a little basket down here on the side. I don't know if that is allowed, but from what I'm seeing, minimal. We're going minimal, okay? Minimal is okay. Minimal is fine. Everything is very monochromatic. Apart from this, but that's what it asks for. So the next thing I'm going to tackle is a kitchen and an eating area, which I'm actually pretty excited about. Oh, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to stick with my color scheme here. That's going to be tough. I don't think there's any such thing as a beige fridge, or maybe there is. I could be wrong. Okay, no, these were more like orange. No such thing as a beige fridge, but we are gonna get a white refrigerator. If you are overly on the internet like myself and you're already thinking of the meme of Nene Leaks, so am I. I know, not a white refrigerator, honey, but yes, a white refrigerator, honey. And she's not gonna do anything about it, that's all I'm saying. Okay, next thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to get a kitchen cabinet and we're gonna get, again, these more lighter wood tones. I really love, I don't care. I love a monochromatic beige. I do not care. I think it's nice. I think it can be very, very nice. It just depends, I think, on how you do it when you're doing monochromatic. We don't have a ton of options in here, but usually how I like to go about it is a slight variation of every tone. Is this basket floating up on the floor? My ADHD is going out of control. Okay, we're gonna focus on one thing at a time, and then when I check on everything and I do see that the basket is out of control, we'll handle it then. But otherwise, I'm gonna give her a sink, and we are gonna actually make that white. And then we're gonna give her a stovetop, and that should be good. And then all we have to do is really give her a cute little area to eat in. If I can remember where that is, where would that be? So the next thing that we're going to do is give her a seating area, and I'm going to finish up with decor and like little bits and pieces afterwards, because what I want to do first is get everything that she needs, and then I will worry about, does this look Japandi or not? And I think this table would be perfect. So I'm gonna slot this in the corner right here. I want to get exactly the right kinds of seats too. I am seeing that we have this exact kind of chair. This chair and that chair matches perfectly. And again, these are variations of wood tones, but I think that this is nice. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a cute little vase here. We're going to do the same thing that we did earlier, but of course just change up the vase. A lot of these kinds of natural colors. Again, I do want something that contrasts though. I feel like there's a lot. Yeah, there we go. This is like a little similar at least to what's going on here or even on the walls, and not exactly the same color as these two, which I appreciate and I like. I also see that we have some rugs going on, so we're going to tackle that next. But next thing we're going to do is just get some loose flowers right there. That is the most color that we will do in this build. And I think what I want to do also is get a rug so that we separate the space. This is, I suppose this is like close enough, right? To the Japandi style. Does that work? You know what? I think that works. I'm gonna keep that. I like that rug quite a lot. What I'm also going to do now that I am pretty much done with the build, apart from the bathroom. Bathrooms are easy though. I'm gonna add a couple of little bits and pieces, bits and baubles, if you will. I'm going to restrain. I'm going to restrain from giving her a ton of kitchen decor, because the challenge of this build, or rather the purpose of this build, is minimalism. Less is more. If I'm seeing anything in this entire space is that there's very little going on. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna work on this front area. She didn't ask for anything here, but I do want her to have something. And also, we have a lot of these really cute pieces that I do want to just kind of use. So I just got this clothing rack that has a mirror on the back, which is so clutch. So next thing I want to do right here is I want to put a chair, and I'm looking at my inspiration and I'm seeing armchairs that kind of look like this, and I might put that here. Okay, so that is this area done. This is just her entryway area. I might move this clock up a little bit. It's a little low, I think, for a clock. Okay, so this is the little entryway area where when she comes in, she can take her shoes off, you know, whatever, sit down, have a seat, chill out. And the last thing that we have to do is just the bathroom. And then we're gonna add finishing pieces to make the place feel just a little more lively. So the next thing that we're going to do is the bathroom, which I feel like is simple. I do not know what a Japandi style bathroom would look like, but what I am gonna try to do is go very minimal with everything. Yeah, I'll put the toilet there. And then for the sink, I'm going to put a simple sink. We're gonna keep it simple. Yes, everything is quite not colorful, but the goal here, the purpose here, is not color. It is actually the least amount of color that we can find. It is minimalism. That is the goal here. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do, and the last thing that we have to do, is to give her a shower. And I really like this because of the kind of, you can't really see it too well, but it has that rounded archway. And in a lot of these pictures and inspiration that I'm seeing, everything is quite round. And I just feel like it goes with the style of Japandi. So that is the bathroom done, but obviously we are not done. I'm gonna go around and add a couple of finishing touches because I do feel like the home is still a little too simple, although that is the point. I am gonna really try to restrain myself here, but we do need to still add some life into it. So I'm gonna go do that and we'll be right back. Okay, so I've put all of the finishing touches to Shibuya Studio, and I'm gonna do something that I actually haven't done before in this game, which is take you on a first person tour of the building. So let's go. So this is what you see when you walk into the studio, which is this little closet space, very minimalistic, okay? Not a lot of clothes here. We just have a hat, some shoes, and I don't know what those are. I think those are hangers, and a mirror. And of course, I gave her a chair so that she could sit down. I'm very big on sitting. And I know I said I wasn't going to do as many of these kinds of slats, these panels in my build anymore to separate the room and give it some space, but it was actually needed here. And the reason for that is because in my inspiration photo, I see a lot of these slats, these panels being used, and also because I found that as I was playing around with adding more decor, this was the only way to add something visually to the room without actually adding more stuff, meaning like more materialistic things, because the whole point of Japandi style is minimalism. So this was a very well needed or well put decoration piece. So that is the entryway. Now I'm going to take you into the dining room. So here is the dining room, and as you can see, we have our little kitchen over here. I did have to move the trash can next to the fridge instead, but we have this very simple rounded table with these rounded like chairs on the corner end. They really fit, and I just put two little almost kind of wicker style lamps at the top, a vase with some leaves, twigs in it. This is the most color that we actually have in this build apart from some of her sewing stuff, but that is the living room, or not living room, that is the dining room area. Then of course over here you have your kitchen, and I just gave her a simple stovetop, a sink. She didn't ask for much, okay? She didn't ask for much. A fridge and a matching trash can. And look at this view. I would love to cook with a view like this. Next, we're going to go into the bathroom. And I didn't do much here too. I did of course have to give her a bath mat because I'm not trying to have her slip. There weren't a lot of options for towels or a towel holder, so this is just what I gave her because I wanted again to have something in this room, but not too much. I tried to pull back. That's something that I've been learning with building, is not adding everything under the kitchen sink that is available to me just because it's there. Really learning to tailor it and understanding that sometimes it doesn't have to be there just for people to imagine that it might be there, if that makes sense, if it's not an essential like a tub or something like that. Anyway, gave her a very simple shower. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but okay, here we go. It has a little glass door on the side with this arched detailing, which I actually think is really perfect for this style. A simple sink that is actually a white trash can, but it might just look a little different because of the coloring. And then of course a toilet, some toilet paper, and a little, to wash the toilet thingy. So that is our bathroom, and now we're getting to my favorite part of the build, which is actually her bedroom / sewing atelier. So let's go to the sewing atelier first. So I put a bookshelf on the side, has a couple of plants, a little sculpture, again, natural materials. The sculpture has a lot of natural materials because as I'm looking at my inspiration photos, I just see that there are so many natural materials everywhere. So I tried to keep that within the bookshelf, her little sewing station, and a basket down there so she can throw stuff in, I don't know, fish fabric out. I'm not a sewer, if that wasn't extremely obvious. And then of course in her bedroom, which is my favorite section, I gave her a bed, a very simple, chic little clothing rack, a rounded lamp because I saw that there was again a lot of rounded shapes in Japandi style. Of course, another thing to add to her sewing atelier, which is something to hang clothes on, some more clothes, or those are bags, I'm not actually sure, over here. And then I did something very controversial to myself, which is I put a mirror right across her bed. In feng shui, or rather, this is what I have learned my whole life from my mother. This is like bad feng shui. Because imagine you're waking up, you're groggy, maybe you have bad vision like me, and then you look and you see, obviously in the mirror, and you see someone staring back at you. So I have never, even in my builds, I do not like to put a mirror. However, as I was going through the entire room, I realized that putting a mirror anywhere else didn't make sense. So I tried to put it here. And I guess I could, in theory, put it here, but it felt very weird and awkward to put it next to this door here. I actually like it a lot better by the bedroom. So sorry to Hana, if she wakes up and she has a really terrible dream, I feel terrible for putting it there, but it's about the aesthetic. It's about my client, but it's also about the aesthetic. So that was our Japandi build in small spaces, and I'm actually pretty happy with the way that it turned out. I feel like it's very similar or close to the inspiration photos, the vibes that the inspiration photos were giving. But let me know down in the comments below what you thought about the build, what you would have done yourself, what you would have changed, what you would have taken out, what you would have added. I would love to know your ideas and your perspectives because it always helps me to build better. Thank you for watching and thank you for hanging out with me. Like and subscribe for more videos just like this, and I will see you next time. Bye everyone. Take care.